Here we go. Here's the peak. Isn't this the place where Jump Lost Friend is supposed to be? Oh, hey. We came for you. Are you alright? Yes, I'm fine, but... Great, your friend is waiting for you. Shiftry is in the back. Huh? Shiftry? Let's go. Listen, you okay? Snap out of it. Ugh, forget about me. Get away from here. Get away? What's going on? Why did it turn pitch black? Why did it turn pitch black? It's coming. Move aside, you. He dared to disturb my sleep. I have no mercy for meddlers, and that includes you. So as you can see, that was Zapdos. Is still Zapdos. I thought he would fly away. Shiftry's gone. I am Zapdos, the embodiment of lightning. If you wish to save Shiftry, then scale Mount Thunder. Zapdos. So that's the legendary monster. So there's a little call to action there. Mount Thunder, I feel, is when the game shows its true colours and shows, you know, it starts to take off the training wheels a bit. Or mostly, really. That monster. It said it was Zapdos. Did you say Zapdos? So anyway, Alakazam's crew. Zapdos. It's one of those legendary bird Pokemon. I heard it had been sleeping for a long time. So Shiftry woke it up? No. Shiftry's winds were only the trigger. To begin with, the absence of winds there was unnatural. It must have been caused by the rash of natural disasters recently. Zapdos is enraged from having been awoken from its sleep. Shiftry must be saved. But Zapdos won't be easy. Its electric attacks are wicked nasty. I know that. We'll need to be cautious. We'll go too. We'll go help Shiftry. What? That's dangerous. Zapdos is powerful. It'll be too much for your skill level. Hey, we're not that weak. Besides, Zapdos doesn't scare us, right, White? Yep, I'm not scared. You could do the stomach thing if you want, which is funny. It'll leave you stunned and shaking. No problem. Zapdos is wickedly tough. It might gobble you up for a snack. Can you face that? I'm not scared. We're a rescue team too. We want to help Shiftry. Fine. I see that you have courage. Yes! Our two teams should make our way separately through Mount Thunder. We will go when we've geared up for battle. Knowing how strong our opponent is, we have no choice but to be cautious. You should make way for Mount Thunder only when you are fully prepared. Our objective is to rescue Shiftry. Let us find success. Yes, I'm getting excited over this. Whitey, let's do our best. Yeah! Alright, so we have to head to Mount Thunder, and as I said earlier, Mount Thunder is when the game really feels like it starts, when the tone becomes a little more serious, because there's one thing I do love about Mystery Dungeon, it's how, you know, it can be pretty light-hearted, it can be a very friendship-heavy game, but it knows when to get serious, and it can actually maintain a serious tone. Little jump cut there. And it knows when to, you know, peel back the happy-go-lucky attitude and make things more emotional. Especially Mystery Dungeon 2. Mystery Dungeon 2, from what I remember of it, it could be very, pretty dark for Pokemon, which is, you know, good, because I value that stuff, because most games are either too serious or way too kid-friendly and, you know, happy-go-lucky. And, you know, both are great, but, you know, I like this nice little mix that the game does. Granted, we're not really seeing it much at the moment, but we will. So, yeah. Get excited! So yeah, onward to Mount Thunder, one of my favourite dungeons in the game. Only problem this time, this playthrough, is that I'm a Squirtle, and there's plenty of electric types in Mount Thunder. So, you know, my one weakness. But we'll manage. We'll get through it. So, we should be alright. Alright. So, I'm really thinking about these items here. I was gearing up to say something as if we were, you know, moving on from Kangaskhan, but we're not. Still at Kangaskhan. Yeah, Mount Thunder is also when the music begins to get really good. Oh, speaking of music, the remake. The music, the soundtrack has been put on YouTube, and I can't say it's as good as Red Rescue Team's. You know, they had the chance to make it amazing. You know, there's plenty of remixes on YouTube which just make this game sound 1,000 times better than it already does. So anyway, let's head to Mount Thunder, and I'll just let you listen to this theme. It's so foreboding. I love it so much, and you know, you got the pounding bass line, keeps you going, and it has one of my favorite effects that I use all the time when I'm making music is what's known the use of a bell with delay, a tubular bell with delay, as you can hear it there. And it sounds amazing. It sounds very... there's a lot of noises in the background that aren't Mount Thunder, and I apologize for that, but yeah. Tubular bells with delay used all the time throughout the song. It's fantastic. It sounds really good. But as we start off here, and all throughout the dungeon, there aren't really too many electric types. Which is strange, but this is a long dungeon. This is, as I said, this is when the game begins to show just how tough the dungeons can be. This dungeon has like 16 floors in total or something like that, which is a lot, but thankfully there is something that, you know, there's a breakpoint, which we'll see later on. Yeah, I think this is when the tone starts to get a little more serious. You know, we've got a rescue Shiftry who, you know, is decently strong, so things are a little more, the ante's been upped a little. The music reflects that. And so does the dungeon design. Well, not so much the design, but the difficulty and the length, so... Yeah, there's going to be plenty more dungeons that are like this, structured like this. So, you know, brace yourself, or prepare yourself, because these are... well, they're the meat and potatoes of the game, really. And, yeah, wow. That Cacnea is doing quite a number to Squirtle here, so... use a tract. Seriously, use a tract. Tract is stupid useful. There's no genders in the game, so you can use it on anything. And it'll work 100% of the time. Just broken. I love it so much. But yeah, the enemies here don't really seem to be that much of a problem so far, as you can see, but that'll change. That'll definitely change. So yeah, we got Electro... Oop! Pardon me. Like a burp sort of thing. Anyway, we got Electric there. First electric type we've seen, I want to say. I don't know. I haven't really noticed any others so far, at least. So, well, we're only on the second floor, so. I do like the idea of this place, though. You know, it's a mountain that's constantly storming, and I think it would have been really neat if throughout the dungeon there would be like shakes or earthquakes or something. The sound of thunder, it would have been neat. But yeah, this is one of my favourite dungeons in the game. It's pretty hard to call a dungeon your favourite when they're all so similar. You know, because they're all randomly generated and they have the same sort of floor layouts and stuff like that. But I really do love this dungeon, just because of, you know, the situation surrounding it and all that. Also, are those reeds or those plants just growing out of the ground? Out of the definitely not fertile ground? Oh, Henry had a power band, okay. So I'm giving the power band to Whitey here because I feel using tackle isn't doing enough damage, so... There we go. Even still, with the power band, it still doesn't do that much damage, so that's unfortunate. Yes, he's still 28, not that great. But yeah, Mount Thunder is up there. It's very, very good. And it sort of poses a bit of a test to, you know, how difficult the game will get. Granted, this isn't... I'm not letting Weedle come in. Be absolute dead weight. Granted, the game gets much more difficult than this, but no, at the moment it's not. It's not easy. Definitely not easy. Because the last two dungeons... Well, the second last dungeon is decently tough, but I feel the difference in difficulty between it and the last dungeon is sizable. The last dungeon is pretty big. pretty long. Pretty difficult. The second last dungeon is also about the same, but it's, you know, I don't think it compares really. With just how difficult the last dungeon can be because of the specific Pokemon they have. Because of the annoying abilities that they have. See, I'm quite scared to go do that, but both of those dungeons back to back, so will be interesting. But if you're playing the final dungeon, I don't recommend doing this until you're at the end of the game, unless, or you know, you're doing a side quest where you need to get to a specific floor, but you just skip going up you skip exploring the floors and just go straight to the next floor as soon as you find the stairs, because you know there'll be times where you spawn on top of the stairs or right next to them, and you just climb up from that. So I don't recommend doing that for any of the main dungeons, but for the last dungeon, yeah, go ahead. Because the last dungeon is stupid difficult. Granted, I haven't done any of the post-game stuff, so I don't know if you want to still you know, get experience from that last dungeon for going into the post-game, but yeah, I'm not sure really, because the post-game is completely foreign to me. I don't really know much about it, if I'm honest. Other than it's big. But I feel the main game is already serviceable enough, you know, and if you want to do the post game, go ahead, there's more stuff for you to do. But I think there's 9 floors of this dungeon before the rest point. Now if you've played Mr. Dungeon 2 and you think rest point, you go, oh sweet, finally somewhere to save and swap out my items. You're half right. The best part of a rest point to me is the full heal, you know, because you get there and it counts as being outside of a dungeon, sort of. So you get a full HP and PP heal, which is useful, you know, if you want to know the rest points beforehand, so not waste a max elixir on the floor before a rest point. So I think, well, you may be thinking, oh sweet, somewhere to swap out my items. Nope, not in this game. That's not till the next game. You can only save at rest points, and that's it. You can't even leave the dungeon. But you see that? You see that Fury attack? See how much damage that did? Yeah, don't mess with Fury attack or anything similar like Fury swipes, because that just does stupid damage. So I'm taking it slow here, making sure not to run into anyone. So I don't want to have to use an orange berry if I don't have to. So that was a pretty lucky room there, all those items and stairs. See, I recommend if you take a lot of damage on a floor is don't immediately go ahead and heal yourself, unless you don't have many food items, you know, gummies or apples. But if you do, what I recommend doing is just holding down A and B and sitting at the stairs until you get back to either full or a decent amount of health, and just fighting off anything that starts to get in your way. And if things get too dicey even then, you can just go up to the next floor. So, you know, I find it's generally pretty safe. It's not absolutely safe, but it's up there. So I'm trying to be careful here because these Electabuzz aren't friendly to Squirtles. That, you know, they're a little nerve-wracking to deal with, but oh well, I guess. Now, as for the Let's Play after this, I know I'm already talking about that, but I want to get a lot of Let's Plays done in this year. You know, just get a ton done. A lot of games that I've wanted to do for a long time. All that sort of stuff. But the game that I want to do next will be the original Devil May Cry, because, you know, I've wanted to do that for quite a while. If you watch the 10-year anniversary video, that's one of the games I mentioned that I wanted to do in future. So yeah, I'll be doing that. For two big reasons. One, because it doesn't take that long. It's a pretty short game. Two, because I've memorized the game back to front. Just about. Don't remember all the secret room locations and all the blue orb fragment locations, but the reason for that is because I've recently platinumed the game on PS3. You know, I got all the trophies and beat the game 4 times, almost 5 in the past month. Once on normal, once on hard, once on Dante Must Die. Once on normal again in order to get the Devil Made Me Do It trophy, which involves, you know, not using any yellow orbs, which means not using a continue when you die. And after Dante Must Die, that was piss easy. That was so easy. And the sort of 5th playthrough was just to get any enemy files that I hadn't gotten before, because the enemy file system in the game sucks, and I hate that it's a trophy. It's not in DMC2, which I'm platinuming at the moment, because DMC2 is somewhat of a guilty pleasure for me. Anyway, so yeah, I've memorized the game back to front at the moment, because it can be one of those games where it's, you know, what do I do? It did used to be an original Resident Evil game after all, so, you know, I've memorized the game pretty well, and I've also gotten pretty good at it. So yeah, getting dizzy from hunger. Don't shouldn't let yourself get to that state, really. I mean, if you do, that's okay. He's using Fury Attack, that scares me, but for some reason this one doesn't do anywhere near as much damage. I don't know if I was debuffed previously, but anyway. Yeah, also because I've gotten pretty good at the game after Devil May Cry 1. I've gotten pretty good at it after beating it on Dante Must Die, because that was one of the worst experiences I've ever had playing a video game. And I feel that, you know, the game is pretty easy for me on normal now. Which is what I'll be doing the Let's Play on. Let's Play on, yeah. So yeah, get excited for that.